And we are live here with Learn with Lucin. Today we're going to bring on Act Thinking Out Loudest. That is my boy, Leo Gonzalez. Let's see if we could throw him in here.
Soon, and there he is.
Yo,
how are you
Steve,
doing?
Man?
Welcome to Learn with Lucin. Thank you for joining us.
Man, excited to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Well,
hopefully people are learning and entertained at the same time. So I think it'll be a good chat, man.
Yeah, no, that sounds good, man. I mean, so we have here Leo Gonzalez at Thinking Out Loudest. Today we're going to be learning about some financial literacy. I think it's very important for everybody and their moms to be financially literate. You got to know what to do with your money, especially as a business owner. Have your money, spread it in the right directions, and have it work for you. So hopefully Leo Gonzalez will put us on to some new things. But Leo, how about you let us know what's up with you? Who are you? What do you do? And why should we care?
Well, that's a good way to start things. So as I said, name's Leo. I'm a first generation American, so many people hopefully can relate to that. Parents are originally from Uruguay. Right now, I live in Miami, Florida, but I'm originally from New York. So all my New York people, what's up, man? Right now, I currently run my own little business where I advise on private equity firms for real estate investments, and I'm developing databases that can be leveraged in a multitude of ways for different business consulting and insight. In terms of financial experience before that, I worked in the financial industry for 9 years, 5 of which being at Citibank, where I was a strategy analyst for Latin America in the wealth management business. So I hope that, I might have learned a few things from that wealth management side and trying to bring it here to everyday people. Also, when I was younger, right, I worked in finance for like one of the biggest theme parks in Orlando, where I was helping them with revenue strategies, capital expenditures, figuring out which investment project would bring the best return to the park. In terms of educational background, I got my finance, all my degrees were in finance. My bachelor's was in finance, my master's in finance, with a focus of international finance. And me personally, my passions are like data, business, and finance, which is one of the reasons I'm here, right? So I could try to kick a little bit of game about my understanding of finance. And because I do understand the finance and it's very easy for me to understand, try to emulate it for other people, it's important for me to get that message out there, to let people feel confident and in control of their finances, because, learning it my whole life, I'm used to it, but a lot of people, they're very intimidated by it, and it's definitely something that's important to take control of in your life, because if you don't plan for it, and especially in today's society with like the easy access of credit, you can really get into problems there. Not budgeting, not planning, I think just as much as we learn the English language, we should learn the finance language, so that we set ourselves up for success in the future and our families, right? I also, because I come from a family of immigrants, I totally understand the importance of financial literacy and how it can be a stepping stone out of poverty, which again, it's the focus of today's lesson, so financial literacy. So I hope I proved that I might be able to say a few things about this topic.
I think so. I mean, I like a little bit more background. You said you come from an immigrant background. Where's your family from?
So from Uruguay. So it's like a little country down in South America by Argentina. We just eat a lot of steak. There's like 3 million of us. So like there's more people in Queens than there is in all of Uruguay.
For real?
Yeah, we're rare, man. Like Mr. Clean with hair.
Mr. Clean with hair. That's great. So let me ask you this: why is it that you got so interested in financial literacy? I mean, I know you said you came to your family came to America, and I know it's very empowering. But like, why is it that you're so passionate about it?
All right. So like I said, being a first generation American, I did see my parents' financial struggles and their achievements as well. One of the major things I saw that my parents did was, one, they worked hard, like most immigrants do. They're consistent with their working, right? No days off, you're sick, you go to work. And then my parents had good, solid financial decision making. So seeing this, I was able to see how my parents came here with nothing, and they never made a lot of money. They just saved everything they made. And because of that, they were able to provide a better future for me and my brother, right? Help us pay for our education, and whatnot. So I'm very grateful that to say that I came from a home that set good examples of what you're supposed to be doing with your money, saving it, not spending on what you don't need, not using credit properly, right? Just because I got $1,000 to spend doesn't mean I need to spend it. And of course, as I got older, I just continued to grow this foundation of financial knowledge, right, that I was able to attain then through college. After that, when I walk outside the house, was when I really realized a lot of people don't have the same ideas, or don't understand finance in the same way. And that's a little bit shocking to me, right? It's like when you know something and somebody else says like it's like really hard, and you're like, it's not that bad. You try to educate them and see how you can help them. So again, realizing that not everyone knows what to do with money, or how to budget, how to use credit properly, I think really motivated me to say, hey, let me see if there's something I can do to help them understand the basic things. And then during college, I was reading this one research paper, and it gave me a statistic that like blew my mind, and it made me a little angry. But the statistic was that the average net worth of Hispanic households nationwide was $8,000, when compared with other races like whites was $89,000.
Damn,
So
that is
that
trash.
bro, that
Wow.
11-to-1 disparity really shocked me, because right, I want my people to do better. I'm proud of what my parents did, and I want other people to have the same amount of success. So when you see that number, it's like, yo, like, I know they're working hard. It's not that. It's just unfortunately they don't have the financial knowledge to ensure they're doing the right things, or that they're planning. And again, it's not because they're doing it bad. It's just they don't know. So because of that, that lit a fire in me, saying, why my people have less. I just want to be able to help them, and I want to even out the score, man. I want to get that 8,000 as high as possible.
That
So
playing
for me,
field.
when looking at how can I change this, the best way is education, man. The best way is just try to have these seminars, try to sit down with people, try to kick game, and understand where they're coming from, because not every strategy works for the same person as well.
Interesting. So you said have these seminars. Is that what you do? Is that or what is it that you're doing to help people get more financially literate?
So what I've been trying to do at the moment is I'm trying to complete a curriculum that I want to present to local high schools here in the Miami-Dade area. The goal is to keep it short and sweet, maybe a day or two, but it's to invite students and parents to the seminar over the weekend to talk about the importance of solid financial decision making. I want to help them understand that when they're better equipped to make informed financial decisions, they will reach self-sufficiency more quickly and integrate into their communities more successfully. The upward mobility of a newcomer or an immigrant is ultimately linked to their ability to make financial decisions, because, right, that's what they're coming here as well, for prosperity. So it's important that I get both the parents and kids, because the kids, as most people will know, they're the translator for the parents. So they're going to be
Right.
the ones that understand it. And, there's also English literacy that's a problem too with immigrants. So their kids are going to be able to help them. And I think it's also a good way for the kids to learn to appreciate all the hard work their parents are doing, and setting them up for success as well when they start. So it's like, you can hit two generations at once that both are going to help each other to get them to be where they want to be. And of course, using some data, I'm trying to pick the best high schools that are going to make the most sense to give these classes. So the areas that have low income, high debt, high immigration population areas. So that's where I want to go. That's where I want to just go for free, just talk to them, kick game, let them ask questions, and just give them real basic advice that's going to set up the foundation for what they want to build upon. Because we take it for granted, but sometimes it's the simplest things that people just don't know.
For sure. So like now that you said that, I would love for you to sort of give our audience out there some basic advice that we may be overlooking.
All right. So I got like a quick 4 tips that's, again, I'm not too sure if your audience, but these are 4 basic tips that everybody uses, whether the multimillionaire to the guy that just started. Um, so the first tip is making sure you have a checking and a savings account, separating your money. It's important to have separation as well, because it lets you visually see where your money is in different accounts. Because like if you have money in your savings, you're not going to touch that. So just that alone, setting it up, is going to help you be more disciplined in your goals. And of course, there's different purposes for the accounts. And many people say like, oh, maybe I have like 5,000 in my checking, like 2,000 of that's for savings. But it's really not, because the savings account at least helps you make some money, right? You're earning some interest on it, albeit maybe not much, but at least to cover inflation. So people also have to see the opportunity of money working for you. And the best introduction to that is a savings account. Of course, once you understand that, you can go into bigger things, CDs, stocks, bonds, government yielding. So it's a good way to start, no matter what. And it's good to just have those accounts, just have them separate. Another
That's
tip.
so clutch right there because I was actually my nephews came through. Shout out to Chincha Colada. I see you in the chat. They came through to me last night. We just like caught up, just hung out, played Smash Brothers, and had some burgers. But
Oh,
one
it
of
was
the
a good
questions,
time.
but yeah, no, it was awesome. But one of the questions they asked me was like, hey, how do you control your money? And I told them, what I did in the beginning and what I did at the end, or what I'm sort of doing right now. And one of the things in the beginning that I did was that I opened up a smartypig.com account. Do you know what
Nice.
SmartyPig is?
I'm not, man. Let me know.
Oh man, so I definitely recommend this to anybody who's like kind of need to get started with savings. So smartypig.com is an online savings account. What it does, it helps you create different goals. Set a goal number. So let's say I want to save for a wedding and I want to save $10,000, which is actually what my goal was, not any more than
Nice.
that. So I did that, right? And then what SmartyPick does is it calculates, okay, when's the deadline for this goal? And then it'll tell you, okay, you need to be saving so and so every month to reach that goal in time. And then what it does is you connect your checking account, and it'll automatically deduct that money into the SmartyPick account. Now the SmartyPick account, I think at the time was like 1% interest. So that was okay. It was cool. But the whole point was that it was deducting that money automatically from my account. So then what's great is that SmartyPig also makes it very difficult for you to take out that money. So
Nice.
you need to like wait like 14 days. You need to close the account or close the goal. You need to wait 14 days, 11 days, something like that. And it was a big deal for you to do it.
That's really
And
cool because we all need help with discipline, right? And that's like
that's
forcing you.
That's what it was. It helped me with the discipline. So then, I remember even before the wedding, like I started saving up for a Wacom tablet. I'm a designer and an
Yeah.
artist, right? So that's computer hardware, and I think it's like $300 or something. And back then, I mean, no, $300 was a big dent in my month, So it made me save, I think, like 20 or $50 a month, and in a few months, I was able to get it. And because I didn't see it or feel it, I just checked the account. I was like, oh shit, I have enough to buy this
Yeah,
little toy
man.
that I want. Boom. So then that opened my eyes, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a few different goals. I'm gonna go on a goal for like a little vacation, a little goal for this other computer piece of hardware, and another goal for whatever the case may be.
And that's
So
perfect because that's literally the second tip. The second tip is making a budget and establishing financial goals, which you're already ahead of the game. And for
okay.
everybody else watching, right, too, that's the thing. As with anything in life, we all need goals and directions to accomplish anything, or if not, you're going to be lost at sea. So like you said, creating monthly budgets, and I'm glad you mentioned the application because there's other, right? There's Mint, there's Acorn, there's Pocket Guard that are all going to help you reach these financial goals. But it's of utmost importance. Everybody needs to know how much am I spending every month, how much money's coming in, making sure you're staying positive about that. How much debt do I have? How much interest am I paying? So when you make this budget, you write everything down, and that's the first step to having control of anything is knowing what's going on. And it's crazy. A lot of people just take it for granted. It's like, oh, on my online account, it tells me everything. But are you really looking at it? Are you really analyzing it? Are you really setting yourself up for, hey, this is what I want to spend? And that also helps you in the future. For example, when you want to cut expenses, you know what to cut because you know everything that you're paying for. So
When
it's
you
definitely.
when you do a budget, right? Do you just write it in a notebook? Do you have an app? Is it a spreadsheet? Like what's like a basic thing for us to do?
So everybody's a little bit different, depending on their expertise, right? Me, I love Excel. I literally, my whole life is Excel. Like how many times I work
Interesting.
out, all my notes, all my
Really?
budgets, all my
I
forecasting,
hate
like a wedding
Excel.
planning. So you see, so for you, Excel wouldn't work. So what I recommend to everybody is just, it can be as simple as pen and paper, right? Write it down. There's applications, like we said, that you can do it where you just put in the information, they'll organize it for you. There's Word documents, like whatever medium you choose to use. That's the important thing is that you do it, no matter what. That the information is getting put down somewhere where you can reference it. Because the second important piece of this is not only having the budget, but reviewing it regularly, every week, every month, following up. Yo, did I spend what I
That's
said? What
key
I was
right
gonna say?
there.
So
That's
it's just
key
writing.
every
That's
week.
the key. Every week, every month, because once you have it written down, you're gonna hold yourself accountable to it. You're gonna say, I want to save 10,000. I have this goal, and every week, am I meeting it? Am I getting there? And that's really the key of it. It's the two pieces: write it down and follow up. Because then, don't get discouraged if you don't make your goals, because that's how life is. We plan for a lot, but we may not make it. But the key is constant progress and having it written down and looking at it every week. You're putting yourself in check. And that's the most important person to write. Make sure you're getting to your goals.
So you don't play yourself.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be kind of like, don't get overwhelmed. Like, oh, I got to get every single expense. Yo, just get the major ones. And once you understand that, you'll add some more. You'll add some more. You can start with the limited budget. The key is just staying committed to planning, tracking it, and reviewing your money on a consistent basis.
Facts. I think when I earlier on when I had I guess like a regular paying job, it was easy to be like, okay,
Yeah.
I get $2,000 or whatever, $1,000 a month, and 100 goes to this, 100 goes to that, 50 goes to this. As I started, running my own business, that's when I started like switching that to percentages. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, whatever income comes in, every $100, every $100, $30 is gonna go to Uncle Sam, and I'm not even gonna see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's like the tax, and it's true, like what you said. Not a lot of people are educated in financial literacy, because I remember going to a designer meetup or something like that, and I talked about just that simple rule. For every dollar you get, 30 cents has to be in a savings account for Uncle Sam
Mm-hmm.
for taxes. You do not touch
Exactly.
that shit. And then a
Yep.
lot of people didn't know that. And I'm like, oh man. And I learned that early on, very, very early, because I remember the first year that I was doing business, I owed Uncle Sam $3,000. And that was
Yeah.
$3,000 that I did not have. And I was like, I don't know, 23, 22, something like that. And that was
Yeah.
painful. That was
No, for
painful.
sure.
I was like, damn, I need to understand all this money shit, because I'm
It's a
like,
lesson
fuck.
you definitely want to learn before the IRS learns. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't want them
So
coming to your door. And again, it's about, and that also matters, right, in protecting your reputation and your business and all that.
yeah.
So,
No, I just
and
had to put on the big boy pants and learn and figure that
yeah,
out.
and part of that budgeting process, like you said, it can either be dollar amounts or percentage, right? You should be saving money. Like I want to say the last time I looked at a metric, like 2.3 is the average percent people save of their income. That's mind blowing to me, right? That little amount, and that just goes to show you. I don't know how much is it. Is it financial literacy or is it just the consumer behavior? But that's
Both.
outrageous. That only
Both.
2.5% of all the money people are making are going into their savings. So if you have 20% saved, and you're holding yourself to that goal, you're gonna be very happy 10, 20 years down the line.
So do you recommend 20% of like,
Everybody's
I
a
mean,
little bit different, but of
right.
course the
So what's a good
ideal
starting
would
point?
be
Yeah.
as much as you can. That's the best savings. You save
90%.
as much as you can with a comfortable living standard. Everybody has different level standards of living. Some people like nicer things, some people don't. The key is though, if you don't have to spend it, you don't spend it. You save it. You build it up because eventually you're gonna have money to do other things. That's what money is opportunity. It's little soldiers for you that you gotta go send off to war and work for you. So
Yo, where did I
I
read
think
that? Where I read that. I read that somewhere. That you have to
it's
make your
probably it's
money,
been said.
your
It has
dollar
to
like
work
work
for
for you
you,
like little
right?
soldiers.
But if you don't have no money, you're gonna just keep working for more money. And so ideally, bro, the coolest thing ever is being frugal, not having to spend it. You can enjoy your life, not having to like always buy stuff or whatnot. But yeah, just how much did you save? As much as you can. Honestly, like I don't know what that percentage is,
That's good.
but everybody gotta try to save aggressively.
Have you read this book called Profit First?
I have not. How is it?
This one is awesome. So this is called Profit First: Transform Your Business from a Cash Eating Monster to a Money Making Machine. It's by Mike Michalowicz. This is an awesome, awesome book because again, like me coming back into the world as a business owner, I needed to just figure out that new system, or I wanted a new system of how to manage my money. So the whole thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, or see if you agree with this, right? A lot of business owners, they think, okay, income and then minus expenses equals whatever profit, whatever's left over is like my profit, right?
Hmm.
Whereas this book is saying income minus the profit first, right? Equals, and whatever's left over is your expenses to use, right? So it's
Okay.
it's saying it's saying to take your profit first, pay the owner, the owner's compensation, pay Uncle Sam, and then whatever is left, that's what you use to pay your expenses. And if you can't afford to pay your expenses with that little money that's left, then you need to be cutting costs. Therefore,
Yeah.
because your business is not healthy. Have you
Yeah,
heard
of
or
course.
seen anything like that, or does that
So
sound good, or
I haven't heard that one particularly. But what I do want to leverage on what you just said is when you do own a business, you do have the benefit. Like America incentivizes people to be entrepreneurs, because when you own a business, you can expense a lot of things on it, just in your personal life. Like this is more like corporate accounting or whatnot, and taking advantage of like taxes. So that makes sense that yes, you can pay yourself out, and then whatever's left over, just expense it because you're gonna have to use it, and you reinvest it in your business. Because also money working for you when you're an owner, your money has to go back into your business to grow it bigger. If you're
Mhm.
constantly just barely paying the expenses and taking out all the money and just taking it to your personal account, you're not reinvesting in your business is gonna plateau. It's
Mhm.
not gonna grow. You're not feeding your little monster to be bigger. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's a different approach I haven't seen. I'd
Interesting.
like to read the book to get a little bit more color on it. But it's definitely, I mean, there's a lot of approaches that work. That's the thing. It's
Mhm.
not a one size fits all model. And every business has different strategies that financial strategy may work better for.
Right,
Um,
for sure.
all
Awesome,
right, so
man.
now
Great stuff.
uh, let me see. I was on two tips. Let me get to
Oh
my third
yeah,
and
yeah.
fourth
So
one.
wait, the first one
Uh,
was making sure you have a checking and saving account. The
yes,
second
sir.
was establish financial goals, and that's where we got into
Yep,
20 Yeah. So
that's where we got
what's
into
tip number
that.
three?
The third one is in America, credit's very easy. So it's very important that you be very smart about building your credit and using your credit. Because one day, most people are going to want to go buy a home, want to go buy a car, get a mortgage. And if your credit score is going to affect on how affordable your loans are going to be. And there's several ways of building credit, right? Like most of us all got school loans. So that's one way. So
I
just make
I
sure you're
have I
paying
have
that
a
on time.
hundred I have $190,000 that I owe for student loans. That's
And
insane. Nobody should owe 190,000. That's with my master's too, granted, but
yeah, your
that's
whole
ridiculous.
educational course worth.
That
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
So yeah, and they say 60% of millennials are gonna die with their student loan debt because it's just so exaggerated. Like it's too much.
Wait, what'd you say?
But
60% of what?
of millennials are likely to
Millennials.
die. Yeah, so because the millennial is the most debt-ridden generation. So one of the reasons we're not really buying homes is because we already loaded up on so much debt. We can't afford more debt, another
Facts.
significant debt like a mortgage, right? Like you're talking about
Facts.
$200,000 of debt that you're gonna owe over 30 years. So for millennials, and that's why I think financial literacy is very important, is that we can't let debt be normal to us. A lot of
Hmm.
people say like, "Yo, I'm just gonna have debt for the rest of my life, and that's it. I'm just always gonna pay something." And you can't have that mentality because that's always gonna lock you in. You're never gonna really be able to save unless, like, right? It becomes difficult. I also have student debt, and it did become difficult when I try to start, my entrepreneurial goals because, right, I have like, oh, your debt to income ratios are out of whack. So it's like, damn, like the only way to make it out now is I gotta make a lot more money. I gotta hustle a lot harder. So that's why it's important for younger people too to understand, bro, that's not, yes, it's there to help you, but you have to be very reasonable with it. And you have to think of the long term. Is it worth it?
Yeah. I wanted to, and since you know about finances, I wanted to see if this tactic of mine is sane at all, or is it really crazy and I'm just gonna die with a lot of debt. Okay, so I told you $190,000 in student debt. I did the calculations, and even if I threw in 1,000, 2,000, or more dollars a month, I would not pay off that debt in 25 years. In 25 years, your student loans get forgiven. Therefore, I decided that it's like, okay, I'm just gonna pay the bare minimum because even if I tried, I'm not gonna pay it all off. So what's the freaking point, right?
That is true.
So because I started my business at a pretty early age, like 23, 24, whatever, um, I would funnel all my business to Hallucinated, right? All my money is there.
Mm-hmm.
And Hallucinated wouldn't pay Steve. Therefore, to the government, to the IRS, Steve is very poor. Therefore, he cannot pay student loans. And I'm under an income-based repayment plan,
Yep.
right? So based on Steve's income, on paper, he can't afford
You're
to
gonna
pay $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is. So for a long time, I just needed to owe like $50 a month, $100 a month. Right now, $0 a month. Right? So
Okay.
and it's still counting for those 25 years. So that's kind of my plan for now until all of my brands and businesses become, very, very
Yeah, you get that
poppin'
balloon check
with that.
where you can
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
pay it all off. Yeah.
Exactly, where I can pay it all off. I think that is my plan for now, is just to continue making look
Okay.
like Steve Lucin is poor. That way he just doesn't have to pay the student loans.
Again, America incentivized entrepreneurship. Those are legal entities that you're creating that help you take advantage, right? Because Steve
Yeah.
Lucin is an individual, but Hallucinated Designs is the corporation. So I think again, everybody has a different strategy. Different things can work for different people. There's no one right way to do it. I think it makes logical sense what you're trying to do, especially understanding that in 25 years it's going to be forgiven. And I mean, yeah, what's the point of paying it all off if it's going to be forgiven? And even if you were to pay the minimum amounts or even more than the minimum amounts, you're still going to owe and then it's going to get forgiven. There's called the opportunity of money, right? Time value of money. What can your $500 today that goes towards the debt, right? Let's say you wanted to pay an extra 500. If that 500 is still going to get forgiven later, you could have done something different with that 500 to make more money, right? So you're
Yeah.
taking the opportunities of what you're going to do with your money. So I don't think it's a bad idea. There's nothing like shady about it. There's nothing wrong about what you're doing. It's perfectly legal, and I think it works. You have it again. You have a plan.
Yeah.
You have it forecasted, and you know where your goals are. That's the most important part, and you are working
Boom.
towards it. So because of that, it's a good goal, and because you understand all the numbers and you've seen it already, you're not surprised by anything. You know, you're focused on being consistent with your goal. So
Hmm.
I think because of that, it's a good plan, and especially it's a good plan for you. Maybe not for
Yeah.
somebody else, but for
Right.
you, it's a good
Right.
plan.
Right. Good
Um,
point. So how
so
can
yeah.
we continue? We were on tip number 3. How can we continue to build and use credit?
Okay, so building and using credit. So like a quick tip is like, especially if you're just starting off with credit, like you get your first credit card. Let's say you get like a $500 limit. The goal isn't to go to the store and buy $500 worth of shoes. The goal, something I learned from my dad, is to go to the grocery store. You're gonna do your monthly groceries. It's gonna be $100 a month. You have $100 cash. You pay it with the credit card, and that cash you put it in your pocket. You go put it in your drawer, and you pay off the balance in full when the month is due, right? So the cash you would have, use credit, and then it's cool now because there's a bunch of credit cards that give airline miles and rewards and perks.
Points and shit.
The
Yeah.
key to exactly so there's a way to game the system where you're making more money off of them than they're making off of you. The key though is so if you're gonna pay something with credit, have the money to pay it off. Because the beauty of credit, the one beautiful thing of credit is it's for emergencies, it saves a lot of asses, right? It saves you like
How
my
so? Oh
dad
yeah. Like when you actually
so
just
like
need a good amount of bread, and then
so
boom, you could
on
just
a
use it.
exactly. So my dad always took credit very seriously. So he over the course of 20 years, he built an impeccable record of credit, always paying off his debts, right? So he had like an 800 score and he had a very large credit limit. One day, my dad has an accident and he can't work anymore, and my mother wasn't working. So for 2 years, because he had so much credit and because he was people were willing to trust him with so much money, that's the only reason me and my family weren't homeless at a point. Because we
Wow.
had to use the credit and then
Came
they paid it
through.
off. But my dad wasn't where he was disabled. He was in a coma for 6 months. My mom was like, imagine that, like the breadwinner, like my mom was stressing out. And if it wasn't for credit that my dad was able to build, like $60,000 worth of balance to be able to use, that's what saved us for 2 years. Me and my brother, like living life, like being able to get groceries. So that's where credit comes in, that it can really save you. But what happens if he would have been maxed out? We would have been fucked. You know what I mean? So people need to take credit very seriously. You need to spend what you have. If you don't have it, don't spend it, right? And I know it's sometimes, like I said, I tell people that $100 story, and some people be like, oh, but now you got another 100, just go buy something else. And it's like, nah, man, you know what I mean? You got it.
No, I was gonna say I learned that credit thing kind of early. Funny story. Senior year of college, we wanted to go to Cancun, right? So I didn't have any money. I was broke as fuck. So my buddy Ayala, he's like, yo, get a credit card. I'm like, damn, I don't want a credit card right now. I don't have money. I'm like, yo, don't worry, just get it. So boom, got the credit card. It was a $4,000 limit. The Cancun trip was like 1,200, 1,400, something like that. Boom, we go, we have fun, all good. But it's my senior year. Therefore, I am swiping to buy beers, the 30 racks, the flip cup table, the beer pong, swipe.
Yep.
Before, like within like 4 months or so, right after that, and then I maxed it out by accident by like 50 cents or something, and then they locked it, and then that's it. I couldn't use it, but I owed this bank $4,000, I think, plus or whatever, because maybe there was interest, and it took me, I want to say like 3-4 years to bring it to like eradicate it, and that just hurt. That hurt, but it was a harsh lesson. You know, it's like,
that's funny because
don't spend the money you don't.
Yeah, don't spend it. That's so funny though, because like my first debt problem as well came from a vacation going to Cali. I was like, I'm going to Cali. I deserve this, but I forgot that's not it's not your money. Right. Somebody's willing to lend it to you for interest, but it's not your money. So if you don't need it, don't spend other people's money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a hard fact right there. I respect other people's money in the sense of when people give me money to in exchange for creativity, I don't fuck with their money. I try and give them as much creativity that I can and as fast as possible.
Sure.
Okay, let's dive into tip number 4.
Same thing for credit. All right, so tip number 4 is creating good money habits. So being frugal, like I said, is way cool. It's way cooler than being a baller. I'm telling you, saving up your money and not having to spend it and looking at your bank account when it gets fuller and fuller, that's the goal, right? Discounts, anything that says savings, Groupons, Ebates. Like, yo, Ebates, you want to go shop on Amazon? They pay you a certain amount because you're just shopping already. So if you're going to spend the money, it's always a good idea to think, can I buy this cheaper? Making lunches, going to carpool. I wanted to play ball in an indoor gym, right? Because I thought indoor gyms were better. And then I realized it's $150 a month. Do I really need to spend it? Nah, I got a basketball court right down the street. I'm just going to go hoop there. You know what I mean? So
I bike to work. I don't have a gym membership. That's my
exactly, man. And people forget those little things, they add up over the course of time. Look, saving $200 a month, that's $2,400 a year. That's a vacation. And all you did was maybe do a couple things different. Like you said, you're not spending money on Uber. You're not spending money on gas. You're not spending money on a shirt. All those things add up, and that helps you get to, again, that goal setting that you're doing. So it's very important that people figure out, are there ways to save money? Because most of the time, the answer is absolutely. There's something you're doing right now that you're overpaying for because you didn't look for any discounts or you didn't look to do it cheaper. And of course, there's a quality aspect of it. I'm not saying be cheap, but I'm saying get the best value out of your money.
Word. Because here's the thing too. Like I love using apps. I was gonna say spending money on apps. I don't love spending money on apps, but I really try and get as much juice as I can out of them. But when I end up paying a month and then I figure out that I'm not really using them, I'm like, damn, I just wasted mad $30 a month, $40 a month, or whatever, and it adds up. So like right now, I'm actually gonna take off a couple of apps that I'm not using because I'm paying all that and just cutting expenses.
Exactly, yeah. And again, when you have it all written out, you know when to cut, you know where to cut, what I'm using, what I'm not using, and it's all part of the essential principles of ensuring you're going to be financially literate.
I think that's where maybe I struggle because look, I use numbers for Mac to keep track of like my, I guess the writing out of what you're saying, right? I think that is sort of like a way of a type of Excel program.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I guess syncing that with actuals is where I struggle with because I'm sure that I'm getting charged for other things that it looks like I do not have or do have or whatever. Do you get it? It's like
Gotcha.
not in sync.
Yeah. So there's some, and I understand that's a difficult part because, right, I gotta go log into my account, I gotta copy and paste it, I gotta put it in. It's a manual, it's a tedious process, and for some people, they don't have the time or the patience to do that. But thankfully, there's some applications like Mint. Mint links up with your banking account, your checkings account, your saving account. So you'll do those same goals. Like, look, I want to save this much, or I want to spend like I'm spending $100 on Starbucks coffee. Let me spend less. Mint will say, hey, it's reading your account, it's reading your transactions as they come in live, linked to all your accounts, and it's telling you, yo, your Starbucks, you're at $97 and you got 13 days to go in the month. Like, cool it, you know what I mean? So there are definitely applications that will make that easier for you because that's definitely one of the things. Like most people start the budget, they'll create it, they'll feel great about it, and then 2 weeks later they just don't do it anymore because the updating process, the keeping up to date with it is a little bit tedious.
The reviewing of per week, like you said.
Exactly,
Per week and
but you got to
every
make it exactly, but you got to make it a habit, man. You got to take the same way people take health seriously. You got to take your financial health seriously.
Hell yeah.
So it's gonna suck at first, but you know it's the same thing like doing 100 push-ups. The first week your arm's gonna be super sore, but then 3 months from now, if you keep doing it, you knock them out real quick, like in like a minute or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Word. We at the office every hour we try and do 40 push-ups.
Exactly. Yeah. That's awesome.
We try. We were really good at it.
Hey.
We were really good at it, and then we kind of messed up. But we've been doing it for like 2-3 years. So it's like
it's the effort that counts, right? It's getting up, getting on the floor, and the first one, you did one. It's all good.
Boom. So boom, there's your 4 tips for people who just joined. Tip number 1 was making sure you have a checking and savings account. Tip number 2, establish financial goals. Tip number 3, build and use your credit. And tip number 4, create good money habits. Now, those are like very basic stuff, and I think hopefully a lot of people already knew that. What's something that a lot of people may not know that you think can help out the audience out there about financial literacy? Maybe like a ninja trick.
So I've been doing finance for about 10 years, and surprisingly, one of the things that I learned recently was that there's a very big difference between debt and leverage, right? There's good debt and bad debt, right? So for example, a mortgage is something that no matter, that's the debt, that's an obligation. You have to make that payment every month, right? And where does the money come from? You got to go figure that out. Your $1,000 mortgage payments always due, and where's the money coming from? I don't know. You figure it out. It's an obligation of you having to pay that debt. Now, when you get leverage, like let's say you're buying an apartment building, right? That's making revenue. You're buying a business. You're gonna borrow some money to buy that, but you're buying an asset that makes money. So you're buying something that's going to be paying off that debt, right? And hopefully giving you a little bit as well. So that's the true way of making money work for you. When I put my money in a mortgage, he's just going to sit there and just wait. So I continue helping him pay. But when I put my money in an asset that makes money and I'm getting leverage, I'm putting that money to work, and it's helping. I'm buying something that's making money. I'm not buying something that doesn't. You can't, unless you Airbnb your house usually is not making money. But if I take that money instead and I buy a business or I buy an apartment complex, then that apartment complex is going to generate some revenue. I have to manage it right, but it's going to generate some revenue, and I'm making money out of money. I'm not spending more money on money I already put down. So I think the difference between debt and leverage is something people should look into. Because most people in their life are going to make one big loan, right? Like a home, that's 300 grand. You have to consider, is that 300 grand, putting it in a house, is it the best place? Or can I put it in an apartment building that's going to make money? And then that money I can use to rent out a nicer apartment. And now I'm living even kill with my money.
Wife, if you're out there, did you hear that? I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Because you're still gonna borrow 300 grand. You're still gonna you're gonna take that commitment. So when you apply that money, apply it to something that's gonna make money, not just depreciate in value. So yeah, that's the key. The key of any
That's
money
awesome.
making strategy: make your money work for you. Every time you see a dollar, you look at Mr. George Washington. You say, "How are you gonna work for me, George Washington?" And you put him to work.
I love it. I love that. I love that visual. That's interesting. Yeah, because last year I took out 50 grand, right? And I'm being open and honest with
Hmm.
everybody out there. I took out 50 grand so that I can invest that into my team, right? So I paid 50 grand in order to multiply myself by four, you know?
Exactly. That's the
Now,
game, man.
now, 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 yeah, so you're right. I was starting to understand how to leverage that. Now, I wasn't the absolute best at it, but I was able to learn how to manage and delegate to a team and teach them, okay, this is how design, do this, do that. Just my whole process of just
Yeah,
running my business, I was teaching it to them. So I felt like it was an awesome investment because again, I
for
multiplied
sure.
myself by four, and that made me feel less stressed. I mean, it was work, but at least I was off putting some work to them, letting them handle it, and then I could try and bring in more
Yeah.
business.
And the
So then
cool thing is you
that's
got two things out of that, right? You bought management expertise. You became an expert manager at that point because you put your money to work, you hired these four people, and then of course that's still gonna pay off in the end because you're gonna be able to do more business. So that 50 grand,
right,
dude,
right.
in 2 or 3 years when business is booming, that 50 grand is all of a sudden making, because you keep the four same
Yeah,
employees, all of a sudden that's making 200 grand a year, 100 grand a year.
yeah.
That is a good investment because you put money to make
Woo!
money, right? One of
Yes,
the
let's do
one of
this.
the one of the coolest visualizations I got from an economics professor in high school. I don't know, like if you've ever been to like other countries, like third world countries or second world countries, they have wells, and these wells
Yeah, yeah,
usually
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
pump, and you pump
Yeah.
them, but they have this rubber little part to it, where if you don't do the well for a while, it gets very dry. So a well, the whole purpose is to take out water. So when that rubber stamp gets really dry, the only way to make it work is to put some water on it. So the idea is you're putting water in that rubber stamp to soften it up so you can pump to get out more water. So it's the same thing with money. To make money, you need to put some money in, right? So it's always that little analogy is always cool to remember. Like,
I
yeah,
like that.
money's a
I
tool,
like that.
man. Money's a tool to make more money. It's not necessarily
And
to always be spending all the time.
and also scared money don't make no money.
That is true. Hey, Meek Mill. Nah, but it's true. Yeah,
Word.
you got to take risks, right? Like, if not, I mean, and not saying that if you don't take risks, it's bad. Everybody has different standards of living, and everybody wants to be comfortable in their own way. But if you want to go make the big money, yeah, you have to go out there. You have to take a risk. You got to put it all on the line.
Fantastic. Well, that's I think that was a lot of value right there. Hopefully a lot of people out there gained some value and knowledge. Ashley, my homie out there said, I never thought about setting a budget weekly. Makes it much easier to control. Thanks. Boom. If
That's
anybody out
awesome, man.
there has any other questions, I would say now is the time to do it. Because I would like to wrap it up and then see what's up. But Leo, if you have any other like closing remarks, I mean, I think that was incredible. Again, to review the four tips plus the bonus. Tip number one, make sure you have a checking and savings account. Tip number two, establish financial goals. Tip number three, build and use credit. Tip number four, create good money habits. And the bonus tip was understand your debt versus leverage, right? Debt,
Yep,
and you're just paying off things and it's not working for you, or leverage, which is debt that's actually making money for you some way,
absolutely.
somehow.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that covers it. I know. I mean, it's a deep. You can talk about financial literacy for a lot of things. It goes deeper than that. I think the most beautiful thing is if anybody has questions, Google is your best friend on that. But I
Yeah.
guess with that said, I hope that this conversation motivates some people to take ownership of their financial situation. I hope it empowers them to make better decisions, and hopefully they get to where they want to be financially. That's the goal, man. Prosperity for everybody.
Fantastic. Awesome. For those of you who missed everything, I will be posting this on my IGTV. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns for me or Leo Gonzalez at Thinking Out Loudest, contact us. Contact me,
Yeah,
contact him. We're all here for you. Leo, thank you so much for joining me on this Learn with Lucin episode.
I love it, man.
I would
Appreciate the
love,
invite.
yeah, for sure. I would love to have you back sometime in the future. Maybe we could go in deeper about financial literacy.
Yeah, for sure. All those questions, hopefully people ask, we could just load it up and do another episode and knock them out, man.
Fantastic. Well, Leo, I will see you soon. Hopefully, next time you're in New York City or next time I'm out of Florida, I'm definitely going to hit you up. And
Perfect, man.
have an awesome day.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Take care, everybody. Peace.
Take it easy, everybody. Bye.